A hot start scenario for Pluto posited, some big black hole news, and studying AU Microscope A pays off. The baby star has a planet. It's Tuesday, June 30, 2020. Welcome to Talkin Science. I'm Matt Miller. Let's get into it.
With the latest science and space news 5 days a week across Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts and YouTube, this is Talkin Science with Dr. Brad Tucker and Matt Miller.
And it is a very happy Talkin Science Tuesday to Dr. Brad Tucker.
How's it going?
Really good, my friend, really good. How are you down in the nation's capital as we are getting thoroughly into winter now?
Oh, not too bad. It hasn't gotten too cold yet.
It's freezing up here, can I just say. It's 6 degrees at the moment.
Brr.
Boo on you, sir. Boo. Hey, there's plenty of science to be talking about today. Before we get into that, of course, people can find you on Facebook, Dr. Brad Tucker, on Twitter, btucker22. Trekzone's all over social media as well. Just search for Trekzone. We're podcasting as well. Got to get those numbers up. Anybody wanting to listen to us on the commute to work or wherever you catch podcasts, we're in all of those apps. Just search for Trekzone Conversation and we will be there podcasting 6 days a week, which is pretty fantastic. Brad, let us dive into the headlines.
Talking Science Headlines.
And first up, Brad, space smells, apparently.
There is a smell of space, and astronauts have said, it's something sweet smelling, seared steak, burnt meat. And now they've released a perfume, the Ode to Space, that you can smell like a stinky space station for only $39.95.
Speaking of stinky space smells, NASA's going to pay somebody $50,000 to design a loo for the moon.
50,000 Australian if you want to design a new lunar toilet. You're going to have to go on the moon. And it's actually quite an interesting practical thing because there is toilets in the space station that's designed to act in complete microgravity. The moon does have gravity. It's about a sixth the gravity of Earth. So it has to have a slightly different function and design and mechanism than the one on the International Space Station. So they need a new toilet for when humans are back on the moon in a few years. Obviously, you don't want to be left high and dry with nowhere to go when you're on the go.
I was trying to think of something else catchy to say, but I think you've just summed it up there. Axiom Space, meanwhile, back to the space station. Axiom Space has been given permission, or they have been given permission for a while now, to design their own commercial space station module.
That's right. And, back in 2018, NASA essentially awarded them the go-ahead to do this. And now they've entered into a contract with the company to start building it. And so this is the idea that it would be completely commercial, private space station. So that means you don't have to be a part of NASA or Roscos, or go through their training programs. And Axiom Space has been set up as doing private space interaction. They have an astronaut program they're designing that hopefully will go up on SpaceX later this year. So it's a really big shift. And, again, this evolution of space that they hope to be ready by 2024. So again, in only a few years' time.
Talking Science Stories of the Week.
Brad, time to dive into the stories of the week. And as we do it every week, 3 stories across 3 days here on Trekzone. And, of course, highlighting them on our Tuesday main show and putting it all together on our live uncut show on Saturdays. Our first story this week is all about Pluto, that dwarf planet that has been shoved around a bit over the last few decades from when I was at school. Now it seems that it might be more like a inner rocky planet than anyone thought.
I wouldn't say, shoved around. That makes it look like we're just picking on poor Pluto. But you're right. Pluto's always been quite interesting. It's been a place where we've wanted to observe. And when New Horizons went by it in 2015, it was really interested in what the geology, what the topology was like. And it may be that there was or still is a subterranean ocean on Pluto, i.e. liquid something underneath the ground of Pluto.
I really do feel for Pluto going through its existential crisis, but that's what happens, I guess, when you're the newest discovery in the solar system and you're the furthest away. It takes a long time to understand you. Pluto, I get you. You can catch my full chat with Dr. Brad Tucker on That Story of the Week, all about Pluto's hot start. In episode 395, click the card here on YouTube, or if you are listening to us on podcasting, as I said, look for episode number 395.
You can get social with Trekzone. Australia's unofficial home of Star Trek is everywhere you are. Just search for Trekzone.
And Brad, next up on our Story of the Week agenda, black holes, and a couple of stories in this one this week. First up, it's a black hole around around 23 times the size of the sun has swallowed something much smaller.
Something is the key word here. We know we've been detecting lots of gravitational waves. So these are collisions between two black holes. We've also collected two neutron stars collide. We've also detected a black hole and a neutron star colliding. Now, the question is, in this case, we know there is another thing, but we can't tell based on the size whether it was a very small black hole or a very big neutron star. So in short, when a big star collapses and the inside squeezes down to compress the inside of the star, it either forms a neutron star, or if it's big enough, it forms a black hole. And we don't know in this case which one it is. We know that there is a boundary, that there is a limit, and that limit is around, it's about 2.5 for a neutron star. And then you're getting up to about 4 for a black hole. So this is times the mass of our sun. So 2.5 versus 4. This one appears to be at 2.617 times the mass of our sun. So right in that boundary where either doesn't exist or we just don't know which one it forms. So it's quite a very interesting discovery.
And another Trekzone regular diving into gravitational waves detected by LIGO and Virgo is Professor Tamara Davis from the University of Queensland. You can find my chats with her. She's been on the show a couple of times. Just search for Tamara Davis Trekzone. She'll pop up and you can go in depth on gravitational waves. In regards to those black holes that Brad and I were talking about, well, you can find episode number 396 to continue listening to our Story of the Week there on those black holes and that quasar. Of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, just click the card in the top of the video to beam over right now. Alrighty, Brad, our last story of the week, and we're coming back to TESS. It's your project, but well, not just your project, but a project that you're working on as well. It's discovered an exoplanet. In of itself, not that exciting, but the fact that it's around a baby star, now that's a little bit impressive.
It's a very baby star. When we say baby, we're talking about the star is 20 to 30 million years old. Now that is a very, very young star. To put into scale, our sun is 4.606 billion years old. So this is 150 to 230 times younger than our own sun.
Fantastic, Brad. Well, as I say, each and every week it's fun to pick apart the stories of the week with you, and we're going to do it again we're going to do it again next week.
Sounds great.